Hey, my name's Kieran. I'm the owner of Compound Flows. We're an email marketing agency that helps e-commerce brands over 30K a month in revenue. For today's video, first ever YouTube video, I'm going to show you 5 quick tips on how to create high converting pop-up forms. And then I'm actually going to take you through the process of actually making one inside of Klaviyo, replicating a pop-up that's currently converting about 10% of all customers that land on the website. So let's just get right into it. Okay, so the first pointer is to create 2 different pop-up forms, one optimized for mobile and one optimized for desktop. Now the reasoning behind this is so you can A/B test each individually, and also because they're different devices, one's smaller, one's much bigger. So for mobile pop-up forms, you want the copy smaller and more punchy and more to the point, and usually taking out that side image or any images except for your logo. Whereas for desktop, you can usually fit in a side image and then the text and the import boxes. And of course, mobile users and desktop users are very receptive to different intrusions and firing times of the actual pop-up. So for mobile, you can be testing more on the scroll of someone, and for desktop you can use things like exit intent. So when someone's cursor is moving up to close the tab, sometimes that is very high at converting. But overall, definitely good to have 2 different versions so you can A/B test them individually and see what's working for each device and what's not. So that's the first pointer. The second pointer is only include email as the input box. Now this is a classic thing to do. It just reduces the friction of people signing up. If they have to put in their name, their birthday, their phone number, and their email, a lot less people are going to be wanting to sign up with you. Now Klaviyo can scrape first names and last names just through their database alone, just by putting in their email. So I never really asked for first names, and there's never been a problem with that. But on to the third point. Like I said before, keep the copy short and punchy. Typically the header is one of the first things you want the customer to see when the pop-up actually pops up on the website. So keep it short. What I mean by that is just a simple question of want 10% off, or here's 10% off for you. Very short, punchy, straight to the point. You don't want a long paragraph of explaining to them by giving your consent, you receive email marketing, blah, 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 blah. That's not necessary. We don't need to do that. Just keep it very short, make the header the main focus point, and then of course the CTA button for them to actually opt in. Make it something fun like, yes, grab my 10% off, that type of thing. So the fourth point is make the CTA button clear and appealing. So like I just said before, have something fun so they can click on, yes, grab my 10% off, or yes, give me 10% off, that type of thing. Make the color stand out. Obviously a big red button on a white background is going to stand out a lot. All that is very important to remember when you're creating your pop-up form. The fifth pointer here is arguably probably the most important, is to actually A/B test consistently every week or every 2 weeks for the best results. Typically what I do first is start to test firing times. So I'll show you in just a sec, but you can test delay times, how much they scroll through the website, or if they have exit intent. Exit intent only really works on desktop, obviously because of the cursor moving up to closing out the tab. But those are the things I would test first. Next things I would start testing is the actual copy and images used, especially in the desktop pop-up form. And I would also test the multi-steps. So if you have 3 multi-steps, I would test having just 2 and see if that reduces the friction of people signing up. And all those things is really good to test. So I do have a little bonus tip here. You can actually install apps onto your Shopify account, things like a spin wheel or a fun mini game. Again, I would only really recommend this to particular stores, but they do convert quite well in some instances. The only downside is you do have to pay usually for these pop-up forms. but they are very engaging and can work quite well. So that's the 5 tips plus the bonus tip. Let's go over to Klaviyo now and let's actually create a pop-up form for your e-commerce store that can convert anywhere up to 10% or higher. All right, so we're back in Klaviyo, just in the sign up form builder. I want to get too fussed about which one to pick out. They're all pretty much the same. I usually just go for one with the image on the side and then text on the other. So for this one, I'm going to focus on mobile first. Usually with mobile, I always take out the side image. Again, that takes up too much room on mobile, and we're just focusing on the copy for this. You can go to targeting and behavior and set it to just mobile only. And we can just start working out of this. And already you can see that the text is way too small. Same with the actual input fields and the CTA button. So what we can do here is tweak it a little bit. Okay, so a neat little trick here I like to do is play around with the copy a bit on the exit form button, saying no thanks, I'd rather pay full price. Obviously not many people actually want to pay full price unless they really want to and really don't want to sign up. So most people would just be like, yeah, I'll sign up. Obviously that's the less appealing choice to make, but just making it really obvious to the customer. Yes, they can get 20% off just by putting in their email, or no, they have to pay full price. So make it really obvious. Things like that, simple, but have a big impact. The next thing is, like I said, make the copy short and punchy. So okay, so to get copy all in one line, like a nice clear header like that, you gotta play around with the padding a bit, which is a bit annoying. But if you go into the styles section, scroll down here and lessen the padding to maybe 15. That will allow you to get a bit bigger size here. Definitely does have a bit of playing around to do, just to get everything looking right and having everything an optimal size, because we don't want anything too small or too big that it starts overlapping itself and going outside the screen. So another thing I like to do just on mobile is add your logo up the top, just so when the pop-up actually pops up, the customer knows that it's a part of your website and not just some weird spammy ad popping up. So let's play around with that. Obviously make the logo smaller than the actual header. So the first thing the customer sees is want 20% off. And then usually the second thing you want them to see is claim the 20% off, big button down below. And that's starting to look pretty good. Now, if you wanted to add a multi-step to this, you can add profile information. And like I said before, if you want to add radio buttons, maybe you have 2 very different types of customers that come to your website that are interested in 2 different types of things. Like I said before with the example below, if you sell something like phone cases and you sell Apple phone cases and Samsung phone cases, you want to try and segment Apple and Samsung customers for future campaigns, obviously. Important thing to note here is have these on different steps. Don't make these radio buttons on the same pop-up form. That's going to increase friction. And if people do sign up in the email but don't fill out this part, we still have their email and they are still technically subscribed. So the last thing to do here is actually put a little success, customize it a bit more towards your brand. Now what you can do here is either add in the discount code right here after they sign up so they can grab it and go and purchase something. Again, this works for some stores. Other stores, it's actually better to train your audience to go into the inbox and find a discount code. That'll improve your deliverability by having a high open rate on that first welcome email and good click rates. Again, all things that boost good email deliverability. So that's something definitely to A/B test. But what you would do here if you were to have your discount code embedded in your first welcome email is obviously you just want to make things really clear and just put some clear instructions here. Okay, so I went ahead and made a few more tweaks, but this is what the final version would look like. Obviously, you want the header and the copy just to be all in sync throughout the steps. And with the success form, I forgot to mention, just have a exit out button here that closes the form. So if they do come back to the website after they go back to the inbox, in case the pop-up is still there, they can just click that button and exit out and start shopping. In terms of firing times, I would usually start with a 6-second time delay and start A/B testing from there. But that's a mobile pop-up. Let's move on to the desktop version and what we can do there. Okay, a neat little trick here you can do is simply just clone this flow and make it the desktop version. So clone your mobile pop-up form, and you can go in here and change the settings so it only shows up to desktop. It's desktop only. Okay. Now, like I said in the beginning of the video, I usually add in a side image for desktop now that you have so much room to play with. So how you do that is here. So this does take a bit of time to fiddle around with. I would usually do custom and put a medium image and then just tweak with the padding again. For the desktop firing times, again, I'll just start with 6 seconds and start A/B testing from there. Another good thing to A/B test for desktop is actually if you want the pop-up to show full page or just as a flyout. That's usually the 3 things that I'll be A/B testing for. So yeah, not too much changes once you got the mobile pop-up form set up correctly. I would recommend just adding in a side image to it. That usually works well. And just a teaser because you've got that extra room of space to work with. So this is kind of what the pop-up is looking like. Again, it doesn't need to be something super complicated or something super fancy. Something simple like this that's very clear and something that the customer isn't confused by or anything like that usually works the best. So that being said, hopefully that helps. If you have any troubles, the comment section is down there. Post a question and I'll get back to you as fast as I can. Again, my name's Kieran. I run an email marketing agency at compoundflows.com. If you are an e-commerce brand owner that is looking to have something like this done, my Calendly link is there down below and you can book in a free 15-minute call to see whether we can help you or at least just give you some free advice to implement into your own e-commerce store. So that being said, hope you guys enjoyed the video and hope that helped. I'll see you in the next one.